File 3B. Pronunciation. A. 1,
I'd like to speak to the manager.
2,
I put the flowers on the table.
3,
What are we going to do tonight?
4,
Could you open the window for a minute?
5,
She needs to see a doctor about her headaches.
6.
We want to go for a walk tomorrow.
File 3B. When are prepositions stressed? 1,
Who did you argue with?
I argued with my dad.
2,
Who are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at you.
3,
What are you so excited about?
I'm excited about my vacation.
4.
What are you listening to?
I'm listening to the radio. File 3B. Listening.
Traditionally in the U.S., women have cooked more than men, but it looks as though things might be changing. According to a recent survey by a frozen foods company, almost half of all men in this country now prepare the family meals. And they aren't just doing it because they have to, it's because they enjoy it. The survey showed that 44% of men who were questioned do all of the cooking, and surprisingly, 15% of women questioned said that they didn't know how to cook. So it seems as if men are moving into the kitchen, and maybe women are moving out. Is this good news? What do you think? Call us at 1-800-555-3364 and tell us your opinion. I'll give you that number again. That's 1-800-555-3364. And here's our first caller, Nick from San Diego, California. Nick, what do you think about this new trend?
I'm pretty excited to see more men in the kitchen. In fact, I'm one of them. I lost my job a few months ago, and now I do all the cooking at home. I make a different dish every day, and sometimes I meet up with my friends to exchange recipes. My girlfriend says she really likes my food, and she even thinks that I should train to be a professional chef. I'm seriously thinking about doing that.
Well, good luck to you, Nick. Who's our next caller? Ah, yes. It's Eve from Seattle, Washington. Do you cook, Eve?
No, I don't. But my husband does. He's a much better cook than I am, so we decided from the beginning that he would do all the cooking. And he makes some great meals, mostly curries. But there's one problem.
What's that, Eve?
He makes a terrible mess in the kitchen, and I have to clean up after him. I don't know what's worse, actually, cooking myself or cleaning the kitchen.
Oh, come on, Eve. It can't be that bad. Now I think we have someone online, too. Yes, it's Frank from Hartford. What do you think about men taking over the kitchen, Frank?
Well, I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. It seems to me that girls are getting lazier and lazier these days. It's only the older moms and grandmothers who know how to cook. I mean, how can a woman get married if she can't cook? I think it's a disgrace.
Thank you, Frank. So, not all of our listeners think it's a good thing. How about our next caller, Martina, calling from South Florida? Is it good news or bad news for you, Martina?
Good news. Definitely. In my house, I do all the cooking. My boyfriend doesn't cook at all. He can't even fry an egg. I mean, we both work full-time, so why can't we share the cooking? I'm really fed up with it. I really am. But I'm really happy for all those women out there who have found a real man. I know how you feel when you have to do everything yourself.
Let's hope Martina's boyfriend is listening so that he knows how she feels. We'll take some more calls after the break.
File 4A. Pronunciation. 1,
She can sing very well.
2,
I've never been able to ski.
3,
Can you read a map?
4,
You won't be able to go out tomorrow.
5,
He hasn't been able to walk very fast since he hurt his leg.
6.
They aren't able to come tonight.
File 4A. Listening. 1. I suffer from asthma, and I usually carry an inhaler around with me just in case I get an attack. Anyway, I was on a work trip. I was in Paris. I had forgotten my inhaler, and I was having problems breathing. So I went to a pharmacy and asked for une aspirateur, which I thought was the French word for inhaler. I realized it wasn't when the girls behind the counter looked very confused. It turned out that I had asked for a vacuum cleaner, aspirateur, instead of an inhaler, inhalateur. 2.
I was in Istanbul with a Turkish friend of mine, and we decided that we wanted to buy some bread. I wanted to try out the Turkish I knew, so I said that I would ask for it. So we found this tiny little store, and we went in. I said to the salesperson in my best voice, "Taze erkek," which I thought meant fresh bread. Unfortunately, I got the word for bread, ekmek, confused with the word for man, erkek. So what I had actually asked for was a fresh young man. Luckily, my friend came to my rescue and asked for the bread correctly, but I felt a little embarrassed.
3.
I was 14 and I was on an exchange visit with my school in Madrid. It was the first night and I was at home with my Spanish host family, the Garcias, having dinner. We'd finished the main course and it was time for dessert, so the wife, Maria, asked me if I'd like some fruit. I saw some bananas in the fruit bowl, so I asked for a platon, at which point the whole family looked at me strangely. They then explained to me that I'd actually asked for a large plate. Platon means large plate, whereas banana is platano.
4.
I was in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil with my husband, and it was a very hot day, so we decided to take a break from our sightseeing. We found a street vendor selling cold drinks and snacks near the beach. I was so hot and tired that I quickly ordered what I thought was ice cream. I said, "Uma cosquinha, por favor." As soon as I'd finished speaking, the street vendor burst out laughing. He quickly apologized and explained in English that I'd asked him for a tickle and not ice cream. Tickle in Portuguese is cosquinha, and ice cream is casquinha.
5.
I'm an American living in Korea. Usually I can communicate pretty well in Korean. I speak Korean with my wife every day, and I have a tutor that I meet with every week to practice my conversation skills. So, one day I went to the store to buy a few things. I usually take my young son with me, but he wasn't with me this particular day. When the salesperson asked me about my son, my answer confused her because I accidentally said "Eje 없어요," which means he's dead. What I meant to say was "여기 없어요," which means he's not here.
File 4B. Pronunciation. C. 1,
You shouldn't talk on the phone when you're driving.
2. You must always wear your seat belt in the car. 3,
You don't have to wear a uniform.
4. You shouldn't ask a friend for money. 5,
You have to watch out for pickpocketers.
6. You should take a present for them. File 4B. Pronunciation. B. 1,
Right.
2,
Receipt.
3,
Hour.
4,
shouldn't,
5,
Exhausted.
6,
walk,
7,
Could.
8.
debt.
File 4B. Listening.
Hello and welcome to The Traveler's Guide. Now, last week, we asked our listeners who are going to travel abroad to send us their questions about good manners in other countries. And we've invited our resident expert, Ruth Dempsey, to the show to answer them. Welcome to the program, Ruth.
Thank you.
So, the first question, Ruth. This comes from Katie in Denver, who is going to travel around Thailand next summer. Katie wants to know what she should do when she first meets people in Thailand.
Well, Katie, most of the time, a simple handshake will be fine. But if someone gives you a why, that is a small bow with the hands held together close to the body, you must do the same. But if the person is of lower social status than you, so if they are younger than you, or they are a waiter, for example, you shouldn't return the why.
Very useful advice, Ruth. The next question is from Mark in Dallas, who is going to Brazil with his girlfriend to meet her family for the first time. He asks, is there anything I should or shouldn't do?
Like Americans, Brazilians are very warm, friendly, and open. However, there are a few differences to remember. Always say thank you when someone opens a door for you, offers you something to eat or drink, or even when your girlfriend's mother clears the plates from the table. It's very important to be polite. Also, don't speak when you have food in your mouth. Brazilians find this incredibly rude.
That sounds like good advice for you, Mark. Okay, our next question is from Julie in Oklahoma City. She's going to Greece on vacation, but doesn't speak the language. She asks, since I don't speak any Greek, I'll be communicating mostly with my hands. Are there any gestures I shouldn't use?
Absolutely, Julie. The most important one to remember is the thumbs up, which in the U.S. means good or okay. But it is very insulting to a Greek person. Another one is the U.S. hand gesture for stop, where you show someone your hand with your fingers straight together, like a police officer. But again, this is an insult in Greece.
Good luck, Julie. And we have time for one more. And this question is from Kendra in Chicago. She's going to South Korea for work, and she would like some tips on business behavior over there.
The most important thing to remember is that South Koreans like to bow a lot. As a foreigner, you won't be expected to, but it is a good way of showing respect, and the deeper you bow, the happier you are.
Very interesting. Ruth Dempsey, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
And we'll be right back after a check of the headlines.
File 5A. Pronunciation. B. 1,
4. Shorts. Warm up. Workout.
2,
First. Hurt. Sports. World.
3,
Course. Floor. Score. Worst.
4,
Court. Serve. Shirt. Worse.
File 5A. listening.
Welcome back to the show. We've been talking about famous sports cheaters on today's program. And now we're going to hear about another scandal. The sport was badminton, and the venue was the 2012 Olympic Games in London. Tom is here to tell us about it. Hi, Tom.
Hello, everybody.
So, who was involved in the scandal, Tom?
Well, the scandal involved 4 of the teams in the women's doubles competition. In total, 8 players were disqualified for cheating. 2 pairs from South Korea, a pair from China, and a pair from Indonesia.
And what exactly happened?
Well, basically, the teams played badly on purpose to make sure they lost their matches.
Why would they do that?
Well, to explain that, I'll very quickly tell you about how the competition works. The matches are divided into different stages. Teams play against other teams in their group in the first stage, and if they win, they play in the next stage. So sometimes a team might get a good opponent very early in the competition, which means it might not get through to the next stage.
Got it. So when did the cheating happen?
Well, the problem started on the last day of the first stage. In the morning, the first Chinese team won its match, finishing second in its group. The second Chinese team was going to play against a South Korean team that evening, and whichever team won that match would most likely play against the first Chinese team in the next stage.
Why was this a problem?
Neither team wanted to play against the first Chinese team because the South Korean team was sure it would lose, and the second Chinese team didn't want to play against a team from the same country yet, because that would mean that only one Chinese team was left to try to win a medal. So both teams tried to lose against each other instead.
How did they do that?
Well, both the South Koreans and the second Chinese team started missing shots. When they served, they either hit the shuttlecock into the net, or they hit it so hard that it went outside the lines on the court. In the end, they looked like amateurs, when in fact, they were some of the best players in the world.
So who lost the match?
The second Chinese team. South Korea beat them in both sets.
What about the other 2 teams?
Well, they tried to do exactly the same thing in the next match.
Which teams were these again?
Indonesia and another South Korean pair.
So in both matches, the teams tried to lose instead of trying to win so they'd have a better chance of winning a medal. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly what happened. And it was really obvious, too. All the spectators started booing. It was so bad. After the second match, there was an investigation and all 8 players were disqualified.
And what about the competition? Did it stop there?
No, it continued without the disqualified players.
And who won the gold medal in the end?
The first Chinese team. They beat the Japanese team in both sets. Actually, it was a very good match.
Tom, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
File 5B, Pronunciation. A. 1,
Where did you used to live?
2,
Did you used to wear glasses?
3,
They used to have a lot of money.
4,
He used to go to my school.
5,
We used to work together.
6,
You used to have long hair.
7,
We didn't used to get along.
8.
I didn't used to like it.
File 5B, Pronunciation. C. 1,
Snake. See. Friends. Most. Social.
2,
Zebra. Eyes. Easy. Especially. Nowadays.
3,
Shower. Tissue. Please. Sure. sugar.
4,
television, usually, pleasure, decision, music.
File 5B, listening.
Hello, and welcome to the show. Now, a lot of research has been done recently about love, what causes it, and what we do to attract someone. Mary is in the studio with us today, and she's going to explain the results of some of these studies to us. Mary, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Let's start with how to meet new people. Some people like to start a conversation with a person they like by saying something funny. But how useful is this?
Not very useful at all, I'm afraid, Jeremy. Research shows that only 7% of attraction has anything to do with what you say. It's the tone and the speed of your voice that make a difference. This makes up 38% of the attraction. But the most important thing of all is body language. This contributes to a massive 55% of the attraction.
So what can we do to improve our body language?
Well, it seems that the best way to make the person you're talking to feel attracted to you is to look into their eyes. An American psychologist did an experiment about this in New York. He got complete strangers to stare into each other's eyes for 2 minutes without talking. Afterward, many of the couples said that they had strong feelings of attraction to each other, and one of the couples even got married.
Really? Then staring must be the thing to do. Is there any more advice on body language?
Well, it's important to have a relaxed body position. You need to show the other person that you're comfortable being with them. Also, try not to be far away from them. Of course, there is a comfortable distance, but try leaning a little closer to them than usual. It will show you're interested and hold their attention better. Don't forget to watch their body language, too. If they position their body in a similar way to you, it means they find you interesting, too. This is called mirroring.
Is there anything that seems to work well when you're talking to someone you're attracted to?
Not surprisingly, it seems that you'll have a better chance if you smile. Anyone who's ever spoken to someone on the phone will tell you that it's easy to tell when the other person is smiling because you can hear it in their voice. When talking to a potential partner, a smile will not only affect your tone of voice, keeping it light and fun, but it will also show the other person that you are happy to be with them. And don't forget that a smile is extremely contagious, and before long the other person will be smiling back at you. This will make them feel happier, a feeling that they will quickly connect with you.
How interesting, and very true. Unfortunately, that's all we have time for now, Mary, but thank you so much for joining us.
You're welcome.